What is the purpose of film? It's an art form. Who controls it? Well, it has to support the system out of which it comes. This is a Eurocentric system. What you're going to get for the most part is motion pictures that support the status quo. They're not going to allow a bombardment of motion pictures that are going to be counter-cultural, counterproductive, contrary to the status quo. When there was a sniff of that going on during the 50s, you had the House Un-American Activity Committee jumped in. They didn't like the message of the films. They went after the people who involved in those films and said they were communists.
Are you a member of the Communist Party? Or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
It's unfortunate and tragic that I have to teach this committee the basic principles of Americanism.
That's not the question.
Because they went and investigated and didn't like the message. What I'm saying is this. The messages that are conveyed in these movies, for the most part, they'll allow a few films to come out, a few will come out, but those films will disappear. You won't even know they ever existed. Take a film like TAMANGO. They killed TAMANGO, and they said it was because they didn't want to promote a film that dealt with miscegenation. Dorothy Dandridge involved with a white Kurt Jurgens.
I wonder what he'll be like, my new master. Handsome or ugly? Young or old?
Aisha, that's enough now. Let's talk about it in the morning.
That's one part of it. The main part they didn't want to promote is a black man who didn't want to be a slave and rebelled on that slave ship. They didn't want to show that.
Here, drink.
Trash!
Maybe I didn't explain myself well. What I was trying to say is that you're a slave. The slave can never fight back. Never. Never, 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 never. And the sooner you learn that, the better off you'll be. Because if you don't learn it, they won't chain you next time. They'll hang you. Right up there. Do you understand? Do you?
Mandingo and Drum. Those films were not well reviewed. There's a reason. Because Mandingo and Drum didn't show the BS interpretation of slavery that we get all through cinema with the happy darkies on the plantation who cried when Master died or sang when Master was returning back to the plantation. Mandingo showed you the cruelties of slavery and even had some rebellions where these blacks went crazy, and you even had a little Nat Turner and Drum. Those films disappeared. They don't get well reviewed. Nobody wants you to see those films. They were protesting Mandingo before the film even came out.
Mandingo lit the fuse. Drum is the explosion. Drum, searing the screen with passion, blazing with violence.
'Cause good, don't it?
Exploding with excitement.
We never got the Nat Turner story, have we? We finally got the Malcolm X story, didn't we? I say they wouldn't let James Baldwin do it years and years ago. What was his agenda? Well, if you know anything about James Baldwin, you know he pretty much would have made a different film than the one we got from Mr. Spike Lee. But we wouldn't have gotten Malcolm X at all if they couldn't sell one thing when he changed his opinion and said something different about the white man, where he didn't see all white men as devils.
Now you may be shocked by these words, but I have eaten from the same plate, drunk from the same glass, and prayed to the same God with fellow Muslims whose eyes were blue, whose hair was blonde, and whose skin was the whitest of white. And we were all brothers, truly. People of all colors and races believing in one God, in one humanity.
Well, it's the key to the book.
Of course. You don't think Haley had something to do with that? And knowing what would be more commercially successful? I mean, before the film, you'll usually have the book. And both the book and the film, what's one thing they want to do with both products? Commodify it. We know Martin Luther King, how great he was, what he accomplished. But we also know how they've sullied his name. That was even part of the film. Okay? They'll let you do certain things, but a certain message has to be in there. When we take a giant like Martin Luther King, there's going to be something in there to show he's a flawed character.
The American public will soon know you for what you are, an evil, abnormal beast.
Well, that's part of human nature. They had a bigger furor over how Lyndon Johnson was depicted. This is not real. Isn't it funny how they can get upset over how a white character is projected, but they'll tell you how a black character should be projected. And they don't care if it's real or not real. Just don't mess with their heroes.
There's a tricknology to what movies get made, what stories get told.
Yes. Yes. And the reason why, when you watch movies, you may get some militancy, some so-called blackness, but overall what you're going to get green-lighted and the gatekeepers are going to let come through are those motion pictures which perpetuate the status quo. Defiant ones.
Come down the street with a Panama hat and a good-looking gal. Come on, boy, you got a free arm. Come on, boy, hit it.
1958, Sidney Poitier, Tony Curtis. Two people who hate each other. Black man, white man. At the end of the movie, some people say that they're almost homosexual lovers.
You hurt bad? I feel fine. Sure you do. You gonna make somebody a fine old lady one day. Ain't it the truth?
They love each other. Brotherhood is the message. Melting pot amalgamation, brotherhood. What we get in movies is not hate the white man, love the white man.
Okay, well, let's talk about two other movies. The Butler and 42. They were huge, $100 million grossing movies. Do they perpetuate the status quo?
Yes.
Well, let's break it
Without
down.
a doubt.
Professor, break it down.
42, they already had that film. Jackie Robinson, 1951. He actually played himself. The Jackie Robinson story. You get that? During the 50s, civil rights era. What do? They don't take some militant black person and put his biography on the screen. Like I said, we still haven't had Nat Turner. We take Jackie Robinson, that story's made, and it's remade with 42 because we have Branch Rickey, a white man. Black and white together.
Suppose I'm a player in the heat of an important game. Suppose I collide with you at second base, and when I get up, I say, you dirty black so-and-so. What do you do?
Mr. Ricky, do you want a ball player who's afraid to fight back?
I want a ball player with guts enough not to fight back. You got to do this job with base hits, stolen bases, and fielding ground balls, Jackie. Nothing else. Now I'm playing against you in a World Series, and I'm hot-headed. I want to win this game. So I go into you spikes first. You jab the ball in my ribs, and the umpire says out. High flare. All I can see is your black face, that black face right over me. So I haul off and punch you right in the cheek. What do you do?
Mr. Ricky, I've got two cheeks.
Good.
The Butler. That gets made. Where do we throw in the milk with the coffee? We got all these presidents, right? And one of the threads running through the film is that they want to get paid on an equal basis with the white guys who are doing the same job. Who finally helps that to happen? The Reagans. The damn Reagans. Reagan, whose policies killed the middle class in America, made things worse for blacks in America. They helped change their hero's image with that nonsense. That's all part of the game.
I like to send people money when they write me about their financial problems, but my staff has been trying to get me to stop. You think you could help me to keep this going?
Absolutely, Mr. President.
I appreciate your help with this. Please, don't tell Nancy.
You take Invictus, Morgan Freeman. That film gets made. Great story. Oh.
Yeah, Morgan Freeman's Nelson Mandela.
He's playing Mandela, right? Well, what was Mandela's issues with his wife? You had a lot of blacks in South Africa. They didn't want to go this Desmond Tutu route of reconciliation, listening to a bunch of cruel white people tell you how they tortured black South Africans. We're going to have reconciliation, or we're not going to let blacks take over or at least become part of the politics of South Africa.
You look agitated, Jason.
Well, that's because there are 4 special branch cops in my office.
Oh, what did you do?
Nothing. But they say they're the presidential bodyguards and they have orders signed by you.
Ah, yes, ah, yes. Well, these men are special trained by SAS. They have lots of experience. They protected the clerk.
Yes, sir, but it doesn't mean that they have to come...
You asked for more men, didn't you?
Yes, sir. I asked...
When people see me in public, they see my bodyguards. You represent me directly. The Rainbow Nation starts here. Reconciliation starts here.
Reconciliation, sir.
Yes, reconciliation, Jason.
Comrade President, not long ago, these guys tried to kill us. Maybe even these 4 guys in my office tried and often succeeded.
Yes, I know. Forgiveness starts here, too.
Reconciliation. Where was the reconciliation when we had films like The Alamo?
It's here at last, the monumental history-making motion picture, 14 years in the making, the $12 million epic.
I didn't hear anyone say, let's reconciliate with the Mexicans. No, what did you hear in those films? Remember the Alamo, let's kill those Mexicans for what they did at the Alamo. When they had the Westerns, there was never let's reconciliate with these native red men. No, let's kill these savages because the only good Indian is a dead Indian.
I've driven Geronimo and his band into hiding in Mexico. He hasn't raided in more than 2 months. I've got practically every Apache in the territory confined to reservation, with rifles trained on them day and night. I'll stand on my record.
Well, they studied a lot of records in Washington, sir. What came out was that the Army, over the past 10 years, at a cost of $3 million a year, has been trying to exterminate the Apaches and hasn't been able to do it.
We'll do it if we aren't hamstrung by those that have no experience in the Indian problem.
The white storyline It's revenge. It's get even. You're not going to get that where blacks will say, let's have revenge for how we were treated as slaves. Let's get revenge for what happened in Scottsboro. Let's get revenge for the syphilis test. Let's get revenge for all the times when, take the summer of 1919, Red Summer. A white man throws a rock, hits a black boy in the head, he drowns. The blacks point out the white guy. The police don't even arrest him. Look what's going on now in society. But the thing is this, you're not going to get blacks rising up to say, let's get revenge, because we have been taught to love our enemy. And let me be perfectly clear. I don't see white people as an enemy. Whiteness and blackness, as someone so aptly put it, is an attitude. What's promoted in these films, very subtly, very cogently, very meticulously, and you can't even see it. They're conveying a message that just keeps us at each other's throat. It's divide and conquer. And they've divided us on skin color. If skin color wasn't something they could use to divide us, they'd find something else. But they'll find ways where they can persist and perpetuate. And that motion picture, as Lenin said, of all the arts, the most important is the cinema. That motion picture is used to control a way of thinking.
Please help me.
No.
Look, he's sick. He's crazy. He's everything you said. But I can't kill a man just because he hates me.
What do you want me to do?
My name is Charles Woods, and you're watching Reelblack. Whenever you're going to have the depiction of black and white sexual relations, they put in what I call the 3D effect.
White power is a very undeclared, silent, confident domination of the world in globalization terms. So they don't have to assert continually, because we live in their dictionary.